Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you're all having an amazing week so far, and given that we're a couple of weeks out from the official release of Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny, it's not looking good so far, especially with what Kathleen Kennedy has been saying, James Mangold has been explaining, as well as now what Harrison Ford had to say and warn to the fans about, specifically related to Indiana Jones 5, The Dial of Destiny, and exactly what's going on with this movie, what was happening behind closed doors over at Lucasfilm, and exactly what fans can really expect to happen. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support, and without wasting too much of your time, let's get right into this. Now, we know that there are a total of 4 different endings that have been shot for Indy 5. Many more may have very well been shot beyond our knowledge, but so far 4, and one of which we talked about just yesterday included the death of Indiana Jones. Now, thankfully, that is not, and I repeat, not a part of the final cut of this movie, so we can at least have a little bit of a breather with that. They're not going to kill off Indiana Jones. That's just not happening. But that doesn't necessarily make things better for Indy 5, because of what Harrison Ford recently had to say. Really warns fans and gets the fans ready for what's coming. And from the sounds of it, it really sounds like it's going to truly divide the fan base quite worse than The Last Jedi. So let's tap into all of this right now. Now, given that Harrison Ford is the star of this series, or of this movie, I should say, we also have Phoebe Waller-Bridge by his side, portraying Helena, the goddaughter of Indiana Jones. We know that this movie has a lot to do with time travel, but with both Kathleen Kennedy and James Mangold now promoting Indy 5, which is weeks away from its release, recently many of the cast members have been getting questioned about the film. Now, recently Harrison Ford responded to the Indy 5 backlash by stating the following and also warning fans about what to expect. He states, "Well, I would be lying if we haven't noticed fans' concerns over this movie, and what I can say firsthand is that it's not going to be for everybody. Mangold and Kathy had a vision for this film that I didn't really support in the beginning, and it took a lot of time to adapt to that way of storytelling that they used for this movie. So the fans have every right to speak their opinions and their concerns about this film. I have no problem with that. What I will say is that this film is going to absolutely create a reaction. I don't think everyone is going to walk out of this one with a positive mindset. It's very different, and we have an ending that they chose that I would say is very bold and different than all the other 4. Far different than all the other 4 films easily. Both Kathy and Mangold really gambled with this one, and I think our fans are going to have to watch it a couple of times to really understand what's going on with this movie from start to finish. Now, let me stop here quickly. So, you guys may know Harrison Ford. Whenever he gets involved in interviews, it sounds very jarbled sometimes, where he's not quite sounding like he understands the movie in its own shape or form anyway. And this happened a lot at Cannes. This happened a lot in previous interviews as well for the promotions of Indy 5. He doesn't really know exactly what this movie is really about. And that's the biggest problem, is that this sounds like it might be a Mandalorian 3 situation implanted into the movie Indy 5, where you're not quite sure exactly where it's going, where the linear story is, what's happening in a true one-line fashion. But what's interesting about this is how Harrison Ford is very much, acknowledging the fan backlash, the fan criticism. He says that, I would be lying if we haven't noticed that. The fans are concerned about this thing coming out of Cannes and all. But what's interesting too, we gotta note that he does say that they chose an ending that is bold and very different, and that it's going to take fans to see this movie a couple of times to truly understand this movie through and through, as far as symbolism goes, as far as meaning goes, and even some Easter eggs that he talked about a couple days ago that will be seen in this movie to catch. Now, I'm not sure that's really going to be great, because fans are not going to see this a couple of times. I can almost guarantee that. They're going to be lucky if a lot of fans even see this one time, if they hear a lot of bad reviews coming out of the critics' end, as well as some of the early fan reviews on June 30th. So, what really worries me is what he also says here. So he goes on to state further, it's a film that really deals more with Indy's emotions in this one. It gets very personal, and we have Helena, who guides him in this film and helps him with his troubles. I don't know if I can really say anything further, but this movie is the most different of the previous four. We took a long time deciding on how to end this thing, and I can say I am done for good. I'm not coming back. It's over for me. My time is over. Helena is the star of this one, and the one truly. She leads Indy into these tough situations and battles that are going to be quite different than what Indy dealt with in the other movies. Helena is a character fans are going to have to get used to. She is a bit bossy and loves to fight, but it's a ride. One last ride for Dr. Jones. We wanted to roll the dice with this one. Alright, so here's what worries me too, is that he states how she's a very bossy character, and a character that likes to fight. Now, again, he is alluding to the leaks that we've been talking about of how Helena is going to be teaching Indiana Jones all of these lessons, how she's basically going to treat him basically like she wants to treat him like a fixer-upper. That's basically how he's being treated in Indy 5. From the very start to the very end of this movie, that's how it's going to be settled, essentially. And that really is upsetting and quite horrible, to say the least, if I really have to put it bluntly. Now, when you look at Indy 5, and when you really examine the marketing, I've pointed this out several times. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but if you go ahead and turn on your TV, I mean, I'm not a big TV watcher, but when I do, I have not seen one TV spot for Indiana Jones 5. Neither have I seen a TV spot for Indiana Jones 5 in the form of an ad on the internet, for example, you know, in front of an actual, you know, video that has nothing to do with it. So their marketing is really watered down. They're really just relying on what's posted on the internet or on social media, and they're leaving it at that. It's almost like they're not paying for the proper marketing. Now, sure, they've had some footage attached to previous movies that came out in theaters, but that's not enough. You want to keep kind of marketing this thing every single day. So I would like to hear what you have to say about Harrison Ford's comments here and what you guys have experienced. Have you been seeing a lot of TV spots on TV or not? What was your experience like on the internet? Are you seeing a lot of TV spots, you know, popping up before unrelated content, for example? That's another very interesting subject. So I think that's why I'm getting a lot of people talking to me. You know, Mike, you know, if it weren't for you or if it weren't for other people out there on social media, I wouldn't have even heard about Indy 5. I'm getting a lot of people saying that on my Twitter, on everywhere, and it's just quite a failure on Lucasfilm's end. And it just goes to show you that Kathleen Kennedy, Mangold, and others over there really truly have no confidence in this movie. I mean, it's pretty apparent at this point. It's why they completely just dodge a lot of questions and refuse to even talk about it. But Harrison Ford's comments here, quite worrisome. It is warning the fans about what's to come in this film. It's going to take a lot of viewings to understand it fully, and that's not good either. So overall, guys, you know, drop a comment below, fill me in below what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.